back to another session of daily news current affairs with me. We will be first dealing with yesterday's practice question. Consider the following statement. Presently there are 31 members in NATO. We discussed it yesterday and this is a correct statement. The NATO headquarters are located in Supreme Allied Commander, which is besides Leopard 3, which is in Brussels, Belgium. That is a correct statement. North Macedonia is the latest member to join NATO. No, it is a false statement. Finland is the latest to join. Okay, and this is the 31st member. Now, Sweden will also join recently, is to join, and it will become the 32nd member. Recently, Turkey has lifted its opposition from Sweden joining. Thus, if Sweden joins, Sweden will be the 32nd member of NATO. Now, coming to today's topic, it's a little less today. We will be discussing about UCC, is very important. Then Kerch Bridge, we have discussed Kerch Bridge and the initiatives around it, but we will discuss in, I'll give you a recap on what I have discussed last class. Then we have cheetahs, reintroduction program and what's going on right now, and center bands, basmati rice, and I'll give you a recap of two important other articles in the news today, that is the Data Protection Bill and National Research Foundation Bill. Now, moving on to this UCC. You need to know UCC is very important topic in our General Studies 2 paper, which comes under Polity and Constitution. So, first we need to look in what is UCC and what this article is talking about. This is not today's article, but it is 18 July, which is actually related to this topic. So, I have taken these both articles together now. Now, we should know first what is UCC. The Uniform Civil Code is mentioned in article 44 our DPSP. We know DPSP, that's criteria, it's actually not enforceable in court, but these are actually positive obligation or guidelines for our government. So, the 22nd Law Commission has called for a response to the proposal for UCC. Now, there was 21st, we also have to learn about the 21st Law Commission response, but this year, that is the UCC 22nd Law Commission has all told about a response for UCC, and this has actually started a political debate and political controversy in the law in UCC to actually be implemented in India again. Okay, so we need to know what basis is UCC. Uniform Civil Code actually aims to collectively impugn all the personal laws. Now, I mean, there are a lot of common laws in India. There is Hindu marriage law, there is Muslim personal laws, there is Indian succession laws, which is actually related to the divorce, marriage, abortions, succession, inheritance, or also maintenance on the divorce given to the Muslim woman. Okay. Now, these common laws are actually based on the religious text of different religion, like we talked about the Hindu Succession Act, Muslim personal law, Hindu marriage law, regardingly like that. And it is governed by the personal laws, which has a heavy influence by the conservative ideology. Now, this conservative ideology in this personal laws is not good for a modern democracy like India. So, the Uniform Civil Code actually strives for an egalitarian society, which means that there is equal rights for everyone, including men and women. Now, let us talk about these three, that is the Hindu Succession Act, Muslim Personal Laws and Indian Succession Act regarding to the rights given to women in general. The Hindu Succession Act actually talks about giving equal rights to both male and female heirs. Even if a woman is married or unmarried, they have equal inheritance to a parent's property. But we know that in a patriarchal society and too in a Hindu household, male, that is the father, brother or a husband would be the head in a household and not a woman, even if woman was giving equal rights to inheritance property in this case. Now, coming to Muslim personal law, a Muslim woman have only rights to a husband's property and not to a parent's property. And in the husband's property, the woman can claim 1/4 or 1/8 only. This actually depends upon the number of children. The number of children increases, the inheritance right of the woman actually reduces. And in the case of a daughter, is given only 1/2 of what is given to the son in case of a Muslim personal law. The Indian Succession Act is regarding the Christians, Parsis and Jews. In case of Christians, they have a recommended procedure or recommended set of inheritance that is given to them. It also depends upon the number of children they have and relatives. The same holds for Parsis and Jews. In case of Parsi women, they also get an equal amount of inheritance. So, we should also know about the arguments and arguments against UCC as well when we are studying the Uniform Civil Code. Now, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was a staunch person who believed in the implementation of UCC, and he has been suggesting it all over, even in the formation of discussion of this article in our Constitution Assembly. But there was lot of heated debate in the Constitution Assembly on whether UCC is good for a country like India and for the present circumstances. So, based on this, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar also told that UCC is voluntary. Depending upon the condition of India, the states can favorably decide on UCC as well. There are also other limitations regarding with this. Not limitations, I am sorry. The judiciary legislature has also put out many cases or interventions stating the government to implement UCC as well. We have Shah Bano Begum case, like for equal maintenance of for a divorcee woman who was divorced via the triple talaq. Then we have Sarla Madgal case where the Supreme Court had asked the government to actually look into UCC implementation again. This article 44 has actually remained a dead letter, and add that the common civil code will help the cause of national integration. So that is, and it removes disparities and conflicting ideas, thus uniting all the people in India under common law, thus creating a national integrity. But there are arguments against the implementation of a uniform civil code. Now, the 21st Law Commission actually stated that UCC is not important now in a country like India. It is not necessary and not desirable at this stage of present population crisis here. Now, there is cultural diversity. We have many diversity in India, not just the 6 religions which we have mentioned here, but there are tribals and other non-tribal peoples who follow different patterns in society. They have different marriage law, different diverse law. So, integrating all this together without their knowledge or their consultation is actually a violation of their rights as well. It's a threat for territorial integrity. You can sometimes say that there may be communal violence even against the UCC, which is actually a threat for our national integrity. Now, even in this prevailing laws, prevailing laws is actually not the cause of discrimination to women. It is the practice of gender discrimination that has been existing still ages, and thus the person laws are not discriminating the woman. That is what the 21st Law Commission have stated. Now, that is all with the regulations of the 21st Law Commission. So, I told you that the 22nd Law Commission is starting a heated debate on again of the implementation of UCC on the basis of public opinion. We are yet to see what the changes that the 22nd Law Commission is yet to implement. Now, all this UCC, the arguments in favor and argument against favor, what is UCC is very important for your mains perspective, and we will be discussing our questions based on it at the end. Now, moving on to Kerch Bridge. Now, Kerch Bridge is situated at Kerch Strait, which is actually between Crimea and Russia. Before 2014, this actually Kerch Strait used to connect Ukraine and Russia. Now, with the annexation of Crimea by Russia in 2014, now there is a bridge which connects Crimea and Russia. Now, this is the so-called bridge that is connecting the strait. It also, the Kerch Strait is actually between the Sea of Azov and Black Sea. Now, in international relations and even in the place in news, this actually becomes a very important area which we need to know. Kerch Strait connects the Sea of Azov and Black Sea. Now, this is the only way, the only bridge that connects Crimea with Russia, that has been destroyed by Ukraine recently. So, we need to know the backdrop of this and why this bridge was destroyed by Ukraine. Now, we have a very important treaty to learn before that, that is the Black Sea Grain Initiative. Now, with the ongoing war in Russia and Ukraine, we know that a lot of food grains like the wheat and oil, etc. comes from Ukraine and Russia. With the war going on, there has been substantial backdrop in the food grain availability, and it is actually causing a food insecurity crisis all over the globe. So, UN, with the mediation of Turkey, Russia and Ukraine, decided to allow the transport of food grain from 3 key ports that is in Ukraine. That is the units, Odessa and Kronomorsk port that is situated in Ukraine area. Now, no food is actually given from the Kerch Bridge, it is just a strategic bridge for in the case of Russia. Now, you see here, Ukraine attacked the Kerch Bridge. So, Russia withdrew from this initiative and in retaliation actually destroyed the Odessa port, rising more casualty, and it may in the future, like in the coming future, may even cause food security crisis, because a lot of goods go from there, food grains grow from there, from the Odisha port, which is one of the important ports of Ukraine. Now coming back to the Kerch Bridge. The Kerch Bridge, as I told you, connects Crimea with Russia. In Russia, there is also another passageway to the other Ukraine war-torn areas like the Donbass and Kherson, and it is connected via the northeastern route of Ukraine through Crimea. Okay. Now the Kerch Bridge is strategically very important for Russia. Now it's actually a critical logical supply, as well as is very important in the case for administration and other symbolic and operational reasons for Russia. This Kerch Bridge is not only just a road track, but it's also railway track. Thus it's strategically very important, and it was actually opened in 2018, 4 years after Russia annexed Crimea. Okay. Thus the goal of Ukraine was to actually bomb the Kerch Bridge and gain cutting off Russia's access from Crimea. It will also disrupt Russia's supply to the southern Ukraine. Thus this is an upfront for Ukraine. Now that was the goal of Ukraine's bombing the Kerch Bridge. That is all about this Kerch Bridge. Now moving on to our next two smaller topics, like transfer cheetahs. We know the cheetah reintroduction program. The Indian government bought 20 cheetahs from South Africa and Namibia, but 40% of it. Already 8 cheetahs have died within a span of 1 year, and 2 cheetahs died last week. Now this is a very important issue, that the Kuno National Park is not suitably a place for the cheetahs to be. So the the author is actually staging the government not to make this a prestigious national issue and transfer the rest of the cheetahs to other possible locations and other sanctuaries, so that the other 12 cheetahs could thrive. Now 8 cheetahs dying within an year is not a suitable phase for a country like India to face now, just after the reintroduction program. Now it is actually the government's decision to actually relocate the cheetah to better climatic condition, better food chain availability of cheetahs, so the other 12 cheetahs could sustainably live. Then the other, the central bank's export of non-basmati rice. Now we see here there has been a lot of supply. With increase in supply, many of this basmati rice get exported. But when the domestic itself, within the domestic territory itself, there is a little shortage in the non-basmati rice, then the government actually bans the export, so that we get sufficient enough for internal use. And also the non-basmati rice was exported under category free with export duty of about 20%. There was also a retail price increase by about 11.5% and about 3% increase within the past month itself. That is why, with the increase in prices and non-availability of non-basmati rice for Indian consumption, the government has banned the export. Now I would like to give you some recap of two important issues which I have already discussed, and there were some additions in this today's newspaper. India's data protection law. Now European Union has actually framed a general data protective law in 2018. This is actually a basic for the other countries to formulate their own data protection laws. But in India we had actually made 2 to 3 attempts to actually create a data protection law. Thus we need better implementation of the law. This bill has not been passed yet. So there are a lot of issues with the present data bill that is presented to the public, and the author is fearing that last year's bill may be presented again without any amendments as well. So let us look into 2-3 issues that the people have or the government has mentioned in this data protection bill. Now only the personal data is protected. We know the personal data might be our name, our biometrics, the address we live. These are our personal data. But this non-personal data is not protected. Suppose you are going on an Uber ride, you go every day on an Uber from your home to your office. You might not even give your location there or your name or anything in it. But if you are going every day this way, they might even know the address of your home. They know the address of your location, your work. Thus, they may get information about us indirectly. Now, suppose we are talking with your friends, you are talking about buying some UPSC book, maybe Spectrum or Lakshmikant. Now, recently, I am getting a notification in my mobile, or when I am scrolling through my Google or Flipkart, I am getting suggestions of the same books there, which I have just been talking about, but I have not searched it anywhere. Now you see, these are our non-personal data. These are voice recording and other kinds of stuff which actually gets recommended data and it gets implemented in non-personal data. Actually, this is another personal issue with this bill, is that only the personal data is protected and not the non-personal data. Another is that the Data Protection Board has been created. It is actually a statutory board, but like other statutory boards in India, this board has not been created in suo motu case, suo motu powers, not case, it's powers. Okay, no suo motu powers, which means that they can't take a case on their own. We know in Gmail and Google and all, the government knows or the board knows the issues with it, but they can't take case on their own unless you or me go and report it with. Then only they can take a case against them. They can't take, even if they know there is something faulty in it or there is a breach in our data, they can't take a case on their own. That is actually a drawback in the case of the Data Protection Board. Now, this I have mentioned in my last class, but I am giving you a brief on it again. That is, almost 10 categories of data have been exempted from the RTI, that is the Right to Information Act that was created in 2005. Now that is mentioned in section 1.8. In section 8.1 there is one such called section 8.1J, which actually exempt personal information, which is actually a breach to our privacy, and this provision is actually decided by the base of an acid test. If the parliament or the legislative assembly can't get a data or information about you, then another person cannot get that information also. But there has been lot of misuse to this, like misuse, maybe they are protecting on the name of national security and all, but still this clause has been misused by the government a lot. So the author is actually stating on giving more improvisation all these three, like to also include non-personal data and punishment to the people who are actually selling these non-personal data. Then the Data Protection Board be given more power, like they have to be the watchdog. They have to monitor the entire process and not just take cases just when a person report to it. So they have to be the complete watchdog of this data protection in India. And also this case has to be looked into it. Moving on to our last topic, that is also a recap. National Research Foundation Bill. Now India being not even that poor country, but still in India we only provide about 0.6 to 0.8% of GDP in the case of research. But many other countries like in USA, China, Israel and all provide at least 1 to 2 or even to 4% of their GDP on research and development. And even in that 70% or even like 14,000 crores is provided by the private sector. But in India it is only 36% of the money is provided by the private sector. Now, India, we need money for other things as well, not just the research and development. Thus, to improve the research and development, we need other ways to bring private money into India. Thus, in the NRF bill, they portrayed a total budget of rupees 50,000 crore in the next 5 years to initiate research and development. And out of this 50,000 crore, about 36,000 crores will be given by the private sector. Now you see, there is no immediate profit in this. Like research and development, we have to wait a long term to get any profit about it. So why would actually the private sector give this much of money into the research and development which doesn't have any big gains as of short term? Now to bridge this gap, the government has suggested taking fund from the CSR, that is Corporate Social Responsibility Fund. It is 2% of the 2% of corporate social response fund. Okay. Now the CSR fund, about 70% of this fund goes to another three sectors like sanitation, health and education. The issue with this that 70% fund goes to air. We already know that these three sectors are like not working well now. So if we are actually diverting this fund to research and development, there is going to be a lot of issues within these four sectors. That is why the news article is given as no quick fix. Now even the NRF nor even the government knows how to actually get 36,000 from the private sector, and it is all now a tie on how the government will solve this issue. So that is what the NRF bill is about. This is important, and also we can see future fix on this. Now let us discuss a few questions. Consider the following provision under the directive principles of state policy enshrined in the Constitution of India. Now the 4 statements, we need to ensure that as for Gandhian principle. All these 4 are actually DPSP, but we need to pick up the Gandhian principles in it. Securing the citizens of India uniform civil code. Gandhi wouldn't have said that. Organizing village panchayat. He was a staunch believer and he wanted village panchayats to be organized. Promoting cottage industries in rural area. Obviously Gandhian principle. Securing for all the workers reasonable leisure and cultural opportunities. No. So only statement 2 and 3 are correct. Only organizing village panchayat and promoting cottage industries are given out by Gandhi. Now let's practice and mains question. Discuss the possible factors that inhibit India from enacting for citizen uniform civil code. Now in the introduction we need to explain uniform civil code, article 44, it's mentioned the DPSP and how it's a positive obligation of the states to create a uniform civil code. Presently only Goa has a uniform civil code in India, and the uniform civil code in India is not the Indian basis but that is of the Portuguese civil code, and that is not of the Indian civil code. And Uttarakhand recently taking initiative for the implementation of UCC in their state. And also in the body we have to explain the factors that actually inhibit UCC implementation. Mention the key issues which we have talked about. We can mention the 21st Law Commission, about the diversity issues and the implementation issues in India, the ongoing debates and all you can implement. You can also implement the way forward, like requirement and why a UCC is required in India, like in a modern democracy like India. You can mention the judicial cases which I have told you about, Shah Bano case, Sarla Mandla case. So these are some of the things which you can mention. Now I will give you another practice question. Today I am not giving you a prelims practice question but a mains practice question. Please work this out and we will be discussing this first thing in tomorrow's class. Thank you, have a nice day, and I will be back with more tomorrow. You can also get the PDF of today's class from our Telegram channel Gallant IAS Padashala. Thank you.